Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. The market for now has staged an attempt to recover, and even TCS actually has recovered from the lows. So let's talk about that big upcoming IPO, Zomato. The IPO opens on the 14th of July. It's a large one at that. Of course, it's been a high growth company on the revenue front, but on the bottom line, as we all know, it's been loss making for many years. So let's find out what the prospects are for investors. We have two gentlemen joining in. Karan Torani, who's the Senior Vice President of Research at Elara Securities, who tracks Zomato closely. We also have Bhavin Shah, the founder and fund manager at Sameeksha Capital. Gentlemen, morning to both of you. Bhavin Shah, who's the founder and fund manager at Sameeksha Capital, is also with us. Bhavin, would you agree that there's not much left on the table for investors in the medium term? Also considering that, I mean, of course, the entire industry is seeing cash burn, but the losses have only been piling up for a company like Zomato.
Yeah, I have some fundamental questions about Zomato that are unanswered, definitely not answered through the DRHP. I think company has been very selective in releasing information. We don't know what additional information, if any, has been shared with institutional investors, which is, providing that enough momentum in this IPO. Or, for example, we have no information about what happened in the March quarter or June quarter, whether or not revenues actually were flat in January and February this year, year-on-year basis. And I'm using that because those are normal to normal comparisons. And what I think most important thing I've noticed is that, the excitement in investing in this kind of companies that are at high multiples of revenues is when we see some J-curve effect, when we see that a company ends up entering a virtuous cycle where, additional revenues actually hit the bottom line. There is very powerful economies of scale, network effect. I don't think that has been demonstrated yet, if it is actually there. In fact, when they try to increase the margins ahead of the IPO, and those are the numbers selectively they were given in the DRHP, their revenue growth actually stalled and the monthly active users fell sharply. I'm talking about the December to December 19 to 20, those quarters, and I'm using that because it's an apple-to-apple comparison, considering all the COVID effects. So I think these are very big fundamental questions to answer for a company, and to pay for this kind of price to revenue multiple, at a much smaller scale of revenues compared to some global peers. So yeah, I mean, I think I agree with the comment about the not much left on the table, or if there is anything, or there is downside in the long term from the current price.
No, Bhavin, yeah, we always look at companies priced to their earnings. This is the first time when we have got price to sales as something that we have to look at, which is a bit scary. But, is it not possible that everybody wants a piece of the concept stock? And until now, the retail investor hasn't got that. It has remained with the PE guys, these startup smart ideas, or Oyos, or Ubers, or, Zomato for that matter. So do you think that it might get attraction because of that, and there could be money to be made? Bhavin.
Yeah, I mean, in the short run, things like that can happen. I've seen this kind of ideas. There were a lot of concept stocks. If you go back, Lata, to the dot-com days, there were a lot of concept stocks also at that time that did really well in a very short period of time. But, when the music stopped, really, there was a lot of losses to be incurred. So I would really caution the retail investors that if they are wanting the piece of this excitement, they better know what they're getting into.
No, but even the ulta can happen, isn't it, Bhavin? For that matter, the concept just picks on. After all, how much of India is, ordering from home? Even those of us after COVID, if we can go to a restaurant, this is a very good fallback. So as more and more people start to get it, is it not possible that it just has a paradigm shift?
If I can just squeeze in one last question to Bhavin. Bhavin, same thoughts from your end on the question that we posed to Karan. And also, I mean, slightly off topic here, but some of these niche businesses, these new age businesses, as Lata was saying, everyone wants a piece of that pie, right? Paytm, for example, is also launching its IPO on Monday, and that has been loss-making for so long. But this whole digital payment space is such a high growth space that you don't want to miss out on that piece, perhaps. Your thoughts here?
Well, there are a lot of things not to be this concept of not missing out is very uncomfortable for me as an investor, because there are literally depending on your market cap appetite, anywhere from several hundred to several thousand opportunities in the market. And, it is okay to miss out on, in fact, in our portfolio, we only invest in 25 to 30 companies. So we are always missing out on a large number of companies, for A reason or B reason. So I think this idea that one has to buy something because you're going to miss out, is really, I'm not really a subscriber to that idea. I'm always looking at, fundamentally what I'm paying for. And I don't mind, when you talk about Paytm or any other company, I don't mind looking out 5 years, 10 years, and to construct a business model and, profitability model. And if that makes sense to pay today, then if there is a clear evidence that there is J-curve effect, there is that economies of scale kicking in, the classic internet, or the sort of the type of business model, then yes, one can invest based on that. But I think without that being demonstrated, I think it's just a guesswork that is taking place in this case.
So no price in the secondary market that you may buy it at? If it fell to your level, what's your level, Bhavin?
I think that's maybe 60% below the IPO price.
Okay, so that's a clear no from both of you. Karan is laughing. Thank you very much, Karan and Bhavin, for joining us. Not exactly whetting our appetite, but certainly whetting our curiosity. Thank you for joining us.